So, does it float? It! So, yes, I have seen it, and, it's fine. And I know that's... the thing's getting great reviews and a lot of ringing endorsements, and I'm not gonna say anybody's wrong, but for my measure, it was fine. I suppose a little bit of context for that. I've never read the book. I haven't seen the original miniseries in its entirety. It wasn't, I'm sure if I'd seen it as a kid, I probably would have been scared by it. The parts and bits that I've seen as an adult, therefore it reads pretty cheesy, because I think if we're being honest, not a whole lot about that miniseries has aged well. Tim Curry's performance is kind of it. So I came into this movie pretty much without baggage or a lot of expectations. I mean, I knew the word was good, but I don't have a whole lot of investment or anything like that involved in it. So I came into this pretty much cold, and yeah, it was fine. I'll start with the positive stuff, and I'll get to the negative down the line, because when I get into the negatives, it's gonna get into spoilers a little bit, not too heavily. I'll try to avoid them. But as far as positives, the big one, the kids. The kids are great. Like, all of them. Every single one. And there's a lot of kids. There's like 7 main kids in this story. And they're all good. Every single one of them. And I mean, I can't even remember some of the characters' names, but some of the real stand out. Richie was good. Richie, the one with the glasses, always cracking the joke. He could have been real great and real fast, but there's an honesty to the performance, and I mean, there's an honesty to the way the kids behave in general, because they behave in a way that kids do behave, but is rarely allowed to be depicted on film, like how casually they will drop the F-bomb in the absence of grown-ups around them, stuff like that. Beverly, she was great. She was really good. I really liked the Ben. I thought he was terrific too. The guy who played Billy. They're all good. All the kids are good. So top notch on the kids. That's my main positive on the thing. That's not to say that everything else wasn't great, but that was the only element that I came away going, that really impressed me. Because as I get into the rest of it and think about it, there were a lot of little touches I liked and I thought worked well. But then there were almost as many little things that kind of took me out of the movie. And this is where I'm going to get into some things that I suppose constitute spoilers. So if you want the spoiler-free version, that's pretty much it. The kids are great. I didn't find it scary, which I think is kind of the big fall down. I think unless you find some of the imagery really inherently unnerving, or clowns just scare you, I don't think it's a particularly scary movie. It didn't do a great job of ratcheting up the tension, at least for me. Maybe part of the problem was I knew all these kids, and again, I'm definitely going to get into spoilers at this point. Maybe part of the problem I knew was that all these kids were going to survive because they have to, because they all appear as adults in the second half of the story. So maybe that bit of knowledge was part of the issue. I don't know. But there wasn't a ton of tension in it for me. So when I said, you know, good and positive little moments. So, like, the soundtrack's a good thing. I like, or a good example to talk about, because I liked the score. The score was it was very 80s. It was very Amblin Entertainment. It was almost E.T.-esque at times. And that felt very appropriate, especially given the time period that the film is set in. But the soundtrack, like the songs that came in, the choice of song and the points that they came in at a few times, I'm like, really? Like, the big one for me was again a scene that like lost me and then won me back. The sink scene, when like the hair is going after Beverly, and that was pretty good. That was a pretty good scene. And then the sink starts to spew the blood, and it's so much blood that it completely lost me. It made me think of that scene from Evil Dead 2 where Ash shoots, you know, just a disembodied hand behind the wall, but then this hose of blood comes out. Like, it made me immediately think of that, and the scene lost me. But then when her father comes in and doesn't see the blood, normally what would happen in a movie is that we would then flash flash to, you know, the fact, oh, the blood was not there at all. But the fact that it kept the blood there in shot the whole time while he's going, no, there's nothing here. That was this slight variation from what you're used to seeing, and it was a good choice because it really put you in Beverly's shoes of being like, what? Why can't you see this? So, I mean, again, that's an example of something that took me out of the movie and then something else that was a good touch that brought me back. But the reason I mention that is because there's a song that plays during basically a montage of the kids cleaning up the bathroom, and it's just weird. I can't remember what the song was, but I just remember sitting there going, really? Okay. I've kind of been, I don't think I've been dancing around the subject of the clown, but to talk about Pennywise and Bill Skarsgård's performance, he does it fine. I mean, he obviously puts a lot of effort into it. There's a lot of physicality to it. There's you know, some interesting tricks done with some CGI modifications, you know, to his look and things about him, and that's all fine. But there are other things, like he has a string. There's like 3 scenes in a row that's him kind of stalking, scaring different kids out of this group, out of the Losers Club, and they are like back to back to back. And I remember thinking, wait, is he just going down a checklist of all the kids in town? And so it was stuff like that. And this, the person I went to the movies with pointed this one out, and it kind of killed it for me because this was pointed out really early on. Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise, he sounds like Scooby-Doo. I mean, like, really sounds like Scooby-Doo. Basically Scooby-Doo without that impediment where he sticks R at the front of every word. He's like, ruh-roh, Raggy. But so he's not doing that, but that cadence and tone and pitch, that's what Pennywise sounds like. Come on, Georgie. Come on down. You'll float down here. He sounded like Scooby-Doo. And yeah, that made it hard for me to take him seriously as being scary. I think the scene that was most effective for me in terms of being unnerving was the stuff with Georgie, but I don't know how much of that was how effective the scene was, or how much it just happens to hit my own personal kind of hot button. I say that because for me, like, trigger is too strong a word. I don't have quite that strong a reaction to it, but I have a thing about children like 8 years or younger where they're terrified and in real danger and scared and can't do anything about the situation that they're in, and that makes me inherently very deeply uncomfortable. So it hit that button for me, but again, I don't know if that speaks to how effective the scene was in a vacuum or how much it just happened to hit my own button. At this point, it probably sounds like I'm really down on the film. I'm not. I think it's pretty good. It's pretty decent, but I'm never gonna feel the need to watch this again. I'm not gonna feel a particular pull to see the sequel because, as I said, the best thing about this was the kids, and the sequel's gonna have them as adults, so the kids aren't gonna be in it. And yeah, that's kind of where I landed by the end. Everything that's good about this is the kids, and again, the kids are awesome. I do really love I love that they basically beat this borderline cosmic horror by beating the ever-loving crap out of it. I kind of love that. But again, it's, you know, it's that those kinds of things are offset by these other little things that took me out of it. Like the fact that there's a swimming scene, they're all in their underwear. Really? You're not one of these kids owns a bathing suit. Because it's not like it was a spontaneous decision. They went there to the quarry to go swimming. And nope, none of them brought a bathing suit. Really. And, you know, it's stuff like that. It's little things like that across the whole movie that just kind of killed it for me. I didn't have a bad time. I don't regret seeing it, but nah. Didn't totally gel for me. So that's my feelings on it. My inclination is it's probably going to be an unpopular opinion. But in any case, have you seen it? What were your thoughts on it? Whatever they are, drop something down in the comments and let's talk about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, check me out on Twitter at Council of Geeks. Give a listen to the Council of Geeks podcast. I am also one half of the Punch Like a Girl podcast. Both of those are available on iTunes and Stitcher. And until next time, this council is adjourned.